Welcome to another vintage fishing reel video. In this episode, I've got a Revelation, what does that say? V1550? Sold by Western Auto Supply Company. And I don't know if it seems to work, but it almost sounds like it's skipping. So I'm hoping there's not a broken tooth on the main gear or the pinion gear. And it's got a broken thumb button, and it's just really stiff. I mean, the thumb button it takes a number of turns before it even starts to come back out. But I got it for $2, and I thought, I'm pretty sure that's the same as my Compac Model 36. So when I got it home and compared them, my Compac Clipper, they're pretty much the same. And then when you look at this side, all the rivets and screws look the same. It's got the same kind of retractable handle knobs, same drag, same wording. However, interestingly, note that the thumb button on this Revelation is wider, and there's a little less distance between the hinge and the start of the thumb button than there is on the Compact Clipper. But I'm going to gamble that it'll still, so what I want to do is I want to pull this one out, and I want to pull this one out, and I want to mold and cast that one and put the original back in here and put the cast piece in here, and then I've restored this reel back to action. So I'm going to start first by taking out these thumb buttons and get to work on molding and casting. So I'm going to start with the Revelation. So I've already done a service video on the Clipper. So I really wouldn't have to complete a service video. I'm going to obviously service this, but I may go ahead and add that on to the repair portion anyway. While reel enthusiasts and experts may know that the Revelation is same as the Compact Clipper number 36 or whatever. Somebody that isn't but happens to have one of these and is looking for service and repair video and doesn't know that it's the exact same as a Clipper, isn't going to find my Clipper video and say, oh, there it is. So sometimes to help others, you oftentimes have to do duplicate service videos if the reel's slightly different, and someone wouldn't just automatically know that it's the same. It's basically a trade reel that's the same as something else. So there is the broken thumb button. So let's go to the Clipper. Now I've done videos before. In fact, I did one where I made a part. It was the kind of the actuator arm for the oscillating mechanism for a True Temper 420 reel, and I did a video on that, and the thumbnail was all about molding and casting parts, and that video has among the least views of any video I've done, and I think it's just because of the thumbnail. But it's kind of cool to if you really get into this and you want to fix some reels that otherwise couldn't be fixed, to kind of look at that and explore the idea of actually molding and casting plastic parts. But I'm gonna what I really want to do is I want to take this one off of here, and I want to see it. I just can't imagine it's not going to work in here, even though the morphology is slightly different. But I'm going to put that in there, and sure enough, that's going to work just fine. So all I need to do is get some silicone rubber. I'm going to put this back together so nothing gets lost or mixed up, but I'm going to get some silicone rubber, and I'm going to mold that. And once I have the mold takes, 18 hours to set up or whatever. But once I have the mold, the medium that I use to cast with, it takes like 5 minutes. So I can, if ever I come across another broken button on a Revelation or a Compac, I can churn out replacement thumb buttons every 5 minutes. So I'm just going to put that one back together and carefully put this one back together. And try not to scratch that beautiful, beautiful paint job on this clipper. There. So now, oh, I should have checked those gears while I was in there. Let's check those quick, just to make sure I'm not wasting my time here. Let's just check those gears. Okay, I don't see any broken teeth on the main gear, and I don't see any broken teeth on the pinion, so we should be good to go on getting this old gal back out fishing again and looking like somebody cares about it again. For $2, this is going to be quite a fun project, rewarding project. So there they are. You can see the slight difference in the morphology of the buttons on the Revelation. Obviously this would have come down still, but the up here it's different. And then here's like kind of a rounded hole, here's a square hole, but everything about the body, everything else is the same, so there's zero reason why this won't work on the Revelation. Alright, let's get to molding and casting. Okay, now that we've got this new part molded and cast, we can put the original part back into the clipper and begin to service and repair the Revelation. Okay, there's the broken part, so we get rid of that. There's the new part, and we can go ahead and start tearing this down. Take off the cover, which just unscrews. Looks like we have a nut here. I'm just going to use pliers for this. And then the spinner head, it's just a really sticky grease in there. It's just a simple pickup pin. Don't see any cuts on the spinner head, so that's good. That can go in the parts tray. We've got an E-clip here to take off, and that should allow the spool to come off. And it looks like that's a reversible spool, so it looks like you might be able to end up taking and reversing the probably can reverse the whole handle, and of course the direction that you wind the thing. Okay, here is our drag. Basically, it's this ends up being your quote unquote, it's not really a drag washer, but drag pads. And so when you back off the drag, these drops these things down, these little pads down. Okay, takes the pressure off of them, and when you add drag, these things come up and put drag on the directly on the spool. And I can't remember if that's the same. It's been so long since I've done the Compac Clipper. I can't remember if that's the same or different. I'd have to go back and check the video. Here's your little drag clicker right here. And let's go ahead and take off side plate. Put that in the parts tray. Pull this out. Can go ahead and remove the handle. So you've got a nut. You've got a lock washer after the nut, and then you've got the handle. And then the main gear will come out, and that's probably all of the disassembly I'm going to do of this piece. I'm just going to clean that really good. This anti-reverse and so on. Different anti-reverse depending on which direction you've got the thing set up for. Yeah, so there's no more to take off there. So that can go in the parts tray. And I think we can pull the pinion gear and shaft out. Just pull that through there. I think it'll winkle out the side carefully, like that. And that looks to be, I think that's metal pinion gear. So that can go in the parts tray. The question is, do I want to take out this drag assembly at all? It looks like there's some, let's see here. So I did a counterclockwise turn, and there's a screw head in here. You see that right in there? And I'm going to see what happens when I unscrew that. It's probably not something I really need to do, but I'm a little nervous about taking this all apart there. This here doesn't want to come out either way. Doesn't want to go. That's not pushing out. I just don't want to force that thing. And I'm not going to. I think I'm going to try to clean this up the best that I can. I took that screw out, and I don't see anything else happening there. I don't want to, this is really tight either direction. I don't want to force that because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if it's righty or lefty. You know, it's loose, but you can't turn it. So, maybe I'll look back and see on my Compac video if I was able to figure that out or what I did there. But in this particular case, I'm not going to risk damaging the thing when it really isn't necessary. I think I can get in there and clean that and get that drag working just fine, just as it is. Alright, the other thing I'm not going to bother to take out is, you know, obviously there's a little screw there. You could take out the bait clicker, but I'm not going to do that. So we do have some nasty fishing line on there that we got to get rid of. There. Also, one thing that I discovered when I was throwing parts into the parts tray, there's another little very thin shim-like washer that went the first thing on the crank or on the main gear shaft. So there was this little thin washer, then the crank, then a locking washer, and then the nut. So in that order, that little washer got stuck on there. When I tossed it, it came off. So there's the assembly for the handle. Alright, I'm going to grab all these parts and take them to the sink, scrub them thoroughly. In some cases, rinsing the greasy areas with WD-40, getting a cotton swab down through all the holes and journals, scrubbing with a toothbrush and Dawn dishwashing soap to get all the oils and greases and WD-40 off, and I'll be back just like that. get our parts laid out. Guess I'll go ahead and start with the pinion gear. I'm going to get some oil up underneath that. Work that in, get some up here. I'm going to grease the pinion gear. Basically just pack those teeth with grease. Oil that, and then try to winkle this back in there. Let's see, I think we have to go in with that side first, and then in there like that. Okay, and now we should be able to go ahead and put our main gear in. So we'll get some grease on that. And some oil on the shaft. And I'm going to put a little bit of oil on these parts here that run the anti-reverse and the switchback mechanism. And get that into place there. What's going on with this little thing? I don't know if that even is still functioning or not. There's just this loose, and it doesn't seem to change no matter what I do, but looks like it was supposed to be some kind of little bait clicker or something. It's supposed to mesh up with that gear there, not the anti-reverse cogs, but that gear, and I don't know, it might be just a bait clicker that's gone bad. I don't know. Alright, so we can put that on, and we can add our brand new freshly molded and cast button, and hopefully I got that hole big enough. Get on there. Let's see. It's a little tight. It's a little bit tight. Let's just see if a little oil would help. I don't want it to be particularly loose either. I'm going to try it. There. All right. Now we're ready for our, we could put a little grease on where that button meets up with the pin or axle shaft. Okay, the button is making correct contact, so that's good. We can now put our side plate on. Okay, and now we can grease the spindle around which the spool goes, and then the top of this trip mechanism here. Really doesn't matter which way you put this spool on. There's both. I mean, someone has used this and has used it in both configurations because there's drag marks on both sides, but I'm just gonna, I guess, just lightly grease with my fingers these pads here. I don't want them all gummed up with grease, but just give them a little bit of grease, and then install the spool. Bait clicker's working nicely. And we can get our E-clip on there. Yeah, I've got my drag all the way off so that there's no extra pressure on the E-clip. Then we can oil our pickup pin, work that in, and install the spinner head. And that's keyed, it's a square key, so maybe push on the button, bring that thing all the way up and make sure it sets down on that square there. And then you've got your nut here to go on. Alright, now we're ready for our handle. Remember, there was this tiny little shim-like washer that went on first, and then we had our keyed handle, and then we've got a locking washer, and then finally this nut, or yeah, and give me one of my old tools here. Use one of my actual real tools. Getting grease all over this again. Well, that's got some gear lash, grinding. It's working fine. Pickup pin's going in, it's coming back out, but that's some nasty grinding. Makes you wonder. Somebody's been in this a lot of times, just based on the how boogered up the side plate screws are, the fact that there's drag marks on both sides of the spool. I just wonder if that little shim washer really was supposed to go on the other side of that handle and maybe not somewhere else. And that is some loud grinding. Well, I think it needs some, probably needs some shims. I don't think that they're normally supposed to be that rattly. If you look at the clipper, you definitely don't hear the grinding on this one. So it sounds like I'm going to have to look for some shim washers and try playing with some shim washers to get them gears meshed up a little bit better, because it's grinding, but it's working. And so, you know, the main purpose of the project obviously was to get that button replaced or manufactured. And you can see, okay, so here's your pickup pin, and we push the button and it goes in, and then when we start to wind, it comes back out. So so the handle or the button worked out great. A $2 reel, now all cleaned up. Certainly can be fished, but you're gonna have to find some shim washers. to see if I can get that gear grind taken care of. But there you have the Revelation V1550, I think is what it says. Distributed by the Western Auto Supply Company, probably made by Compac. Western Auto Supply was a really common and famous and well-known kind of a general hardware store type situation. I think these date to the late 50s, early 60s. But pretty pair of reels. Real pretty. You can hang them on your Christmas tree, I guarantee. But at any rate, I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope you'll consider maybe sometime if you got Grandpa's reel or a really special reel to you, and or you just can't find that plastic part, maybe try molding and casting your own depending on the part. All right, I'll see you next time.